I'm Sara Howard. I represent District 9 in the Nebraska unicameral legislature. I've served as a state senator for 6 years, and I'm originally from Omaha. My mom was a social worker for 34 years for the state of Nebraska, and one day she got really fed up with the way the state was treating kids in their care and custody, and she decided to run for office. Right after she won, I immediately left Omaha and went to law school in Chicago. And I loved law school, I loved Chicago, and I got my first job out of law school working at a nonprofit that did maternal and infant health policy. So my sister passed away back home. I just knew that everything I cared about, everyone that I loved was back home in Omaha. And so I decided to move home. But when you move home in your late 20s, it turns out a lot of your friends have gotten married, or they've left Omaha themselves, or they have kids. And so I started following my mom around to all of these different events. And at almost every event, somebody would come up to her and say, "I just want to introduce myself. I'm Tim, and I walked your mom's dogs when she had late nights in the session," or "I'm Roberta, and I left hot dishes on Tuesdays for your mom to make sure she was okay." And I could feel that there was a community that had taken care of my family when I couldn't be there. And so when I decided to run for office, which often feels like a volunteer position because I only make $12,000 a year, it wasn't because of that incredible salary, but because of a community that had taken care of my family and been remarkable to us when I couldn't be there. So Carrie had been in a series of car accidents, had gotten whiplash and had some back pain, and then it just never went away. And when they sent her home with this enormous bottle of Oxycontin. And I just knew like that moment was the moment when we lost her. And she passed away from an opioid overdose long before people were talking about opioids. And it took me 2 years in the legislature before I was willing to talk about it myself and start working on policy. And so I started working on opioid legislation, which is what I'm known for nationally, and started telling Carrie's story, because if you've ever loved somebody with an addiction, there's a lot of shame involved with that. And so telling her story and making sure that other families can see that it's not just a certain type of person who's impacted by it, but it can be people who are working in a job like mine. And so what's been remarkable about this experience is that last year, Nebraska's opioid deaths actually went down. And to me, that just feels like such an accomplishment and something that Carrie would be so proud of. Not just mom running for office, me running for office, but also that we had done something that would impact people's lives in such an incredible way. I consider my Omaha community my district, which is everything south of Dodge between Midtown Crossing and Exarban Village, basically. It's such an interesting district because on the eastern side, I have some of the areas of the state that are highest poverty, where there are a lot of kids who don't know where their next meal is coming from. And on the western edge of my district, I represent one of the richest men in the world. So I have two people I want to thank. The first one is my mom, absolutely, for two reasons. The biggest one being that if she had never run for office, I never would have thought I could do it. Seeing her as somebody who had had so many disadvantages, right? If she hadn't done that, I never would have thought for that for myself. But also because she loves me so much that she will help me by just taking care of me when in this session. It's great because she knows what it's like, right? And the second person is my husband, Doug, who is also amazing, and he's with me every step of the way and never makes me feel like I'm not 100% present as a partner for him either. I think what I want the world to know about Omaha is that we are a place that is welcoming and inclusive to people who are young. We're also a place where if you're young and you have a skill set, we want you to come back here and use it. My family brought me back, but the community that trusted me and supported me when I was running for office is what kept me here and keeps me here.